Coming up, History News This Week, Episode 29. Namaste friends, my name is Shinil Subramanian Payamal and you are listening to the Histology Podcast. Welcome to the 29th episode of History News This Week. Please note that History News This Week will be online every Sunday at 9:30 pm Indian Standard Time, that is 4 pm GMT. This week I have 9 interesting pieces of news items from the world of history and archaeology, followed by 3 wonderful articles. Let's start. First, archaeologists are too scared to open up the tomb of China's first emperor. Archaeologists are terrified to open the tomb of Qin Shi Huang, China's first emperor who has been buried for 2200 years. The tomb of Qin Shi Huang, who ruled from 221 BC to 210 BC, is guarded by a terracotta army of soldiers and horses. The discovery was found by farmers back in 1974 in the Shaanxi province of China. While archaeologists explored the area, they have never opened the tomb itself, and within good reason. According to IFL Science, not only do archaeologists believe it will cause damage, but there are rumors of deadly booby traps that could kill curious intruders. Second, hat worn by Napoleon fetches a record 1.9 million euros at Paris auction. A two-cornered hat worn by Napoleon Bonaparte during his reign as French emperor has fetched a record 1.32 million euros at an auction in Paris. The hat is one of 20 remaining out of 120 the French military commander is believed to have owned in his lifetime. The sale price is thought to have been inflated by the hype surrounding the release of this month's Ridley Scott's Napoleon biopic starring Joaquin Phoenix. Third, the lost tomb of ancient Egyptian queen Nefertiti may be hidden in secret Tutankhamun chamber, famed archaeologist reveals. The long-lost tomb of ancient Egyptian queen Nefertiti may be hiding behind Tutankhamun's. That's according to famed archaeologist Dr. Salima Ikram, who exclusively told the US Sun where she thinks the queen's final resting place is. The final resting place of Queen Nefertiti has never been officially been found. Fourth, archaeologists horrified by grim death of perfectly preserved Inca woman found on Andes. The mountaineers couldn't believe their eyes when they stepped upon the frozen body along with several priceless artifacts. Fifth, Stonehenge mystery solved as key link found to the origin of megalith structure. The origin story of Stonehenge isn't straightforward and many theories have been proposed by a vast array of researchers, archaeologists, scientists and even amateur historians. An ancient culture that emerged in Brittany, France may well have influenced those who decided to build the world's most famous stone circle. Sixth, Roman emperor was trans, says British Museum. A teenage Roman emperor will be considered a transgender woman, which she used for her personal pronoun by a museum in Hertfordshire. North Hertfordshire Museum has said it will be sensitive over how it identifies the 3rd century ruler Marcus Aurelius Antonius, who is better known as Elagabalus and identified as a woman. 7th, Neanderthals were the world's first artists, research reveals. Recent research has shown that engravings in a cave in La Roche-Cotard, France, which has been sealed for thousands of years, were actually made by Neanderthals. The findings reveal that Neanderthals were the first humans with an appreciation of art. 8th, have researchers finally identified the remains of Captain Cook's ship Endeavour? Two newly analyzed pieces of shipwreck found off the coast of Rhode Island lend convincing evidence that the vessel is actually the remains of Captain Cook's lost ship HMB Endeavour, which famously sailed the South Pacific, according to Australian National Maritime Museum. 9th, a shipwreck off the coast of Colombia may hold $20 billion worth of treasure. Buried treasure may feel like the stuff of storybooks, but the president of Colombia is on a mission to recover a real-life shipwreck of the country's northern coastline that sank more than 300 years ago. He hopes that historians are right about a cargo of treasures worth up to $20 billion that may have gone down with the ship. Now, coming to the 3 articles. First, the 50 years that made America. 50 years separate the Boston Tea Party and the Monroe Doctrine. How did a group of British colonies become a self-proclaimed protector of continents within half a century? Second, what killed Kennedy? Was it the mob, a coup, Cuban dissidents, war hawks? 60 years after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the theories are still debated. Do any of them hold up? Third, JFK, the 35th president on film. These videos showcase the vision and hope John F. Kennedy inspired Americans and the immense national grief they shared upon his death. Latest history book release of the week. The Money Kings, the epic story of the Jewish immigrants who transformed Wall Street and shaped modern America, written by Daniel Schulman, is our pick of the week. The incredible saga of the German Jewish immigrants, with now familiar names like Goldman and Sachs, Kuhn and Loeb, Warburg and Schiff, Lehman and Seligman, who profoundly influenced the rise of modern finance and so much more, from the New York Times best-selling author of Sons of Wichita. History Podcast Recommendation of the Week. Throughline, hosted by Rund Abdel Fattah and Ramtin Arablouei, is our pick of the week. If you have ever wondered how history has shaped and contributed to current world events, then this podcast from NPR should be on your must-listen list. Host Rund Abdel Fattah and Ramtin Arablouei examine the historical context behind the news that making headlines every day, trying to put unfolding events into perspective. I will provide links to all the news items, articles, book and podcast mentioned above in the show notes. Please feel free to check them out. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the History News This Week. Hope you found it interesting. Please don't forget to subscribe to the Histology podcast on your favorite podcasting app and check histology.com for book reviews and interesting tidbits from the pages of history. Looking forward to hearing from you. Have a great day and take care. Bye.